Brooksaw Antiques here. Today we have this 1954 Royal Quiet De Luxe vintage portable typewriter. I'm going to show you how to use the functions and make sure they all work. Up top is the adjustable paper guide. This helps you guide the page in straight. And I just like to line that up with the edge of the platen, which is this main roller that feeds the page. This is the paper support arm that flips up from the back. And the margins are magic margins on both sides. And I'll show you how to use those. This is the paper bill. It sits on top of the page and it has two rollers that are adjustable. So right now the margins are pretty much all the way to the left and in the middle. So say I want to move the right margin all the way to the end. So I'm going to hold the carriage release spot, which is behind the knob here, and the magic margin at the same time. And it'll allow you to move that margin all the way out to the edge. Let go of the magic margin and now you have margins on both edges. Now you want it closer to the middle, you just put the cursor where you want it, hit the magic margin, and it magically sends the margin to that spot. But I want it out to the edge, so I'm going to put it out the edge. Same concept with the left side. If you want it more towards the middle, you just put the cursor where you want it, and you push that button, and it magically sends the margin there. And if you want to move it to the end, to the edge, you just push down the magic margin and push the carriage all the way to the end. So now we have the margins all the way on the edges. Once you hear the bell, you're at the end of the margin. You hit this line space, get you back to the beginning, and skips 1, 2, or 3. Right now we have it on single, but if you want double, there's a switch right here. You flip it forward 1 and it skips 2, 1 more and it skips 3. That works good. We got the paper caught in a loop, so we're just going to feed it a little bit more to get it straight. And I'm going to finish typing. As you can see, all the keys type nice and none of them skip or stick. I'll type a sentence in red on the next line. And I'm going to, you just got to feed that paper a little bit so it doesn't feed back into itself. Most typewriters are that same way. So I'm going to skip a few lines and do the red print. To do the red, you just flip the switch all the way to the left and it'll print the bottom portion of the ribbon. When you have it in the middle, it prints the top portion. If you have it on the right, it just prints a stencil, which is no ink for copying purposes. Really easy to type on, really smooth, reliable typewriter. One of the most popular brands was Royal at this era, and they made some of the best portables, some of the most popular portables mass manufactured. If you buy something new, it'll be from China, and they're basically made out of crap parts, plastic and cheap metal. These are made out of really high quality parts, so these will actually last forever if you take care of them. To pull the page out easy, there's a switch on the right side here. You just flip it forward and it unlocks the rollers underneath the platen, allowing you to pull the page out easy. Or load thicker paper like carbon copy or cardstock. Make sure you flip that back before you load the next page or else it won't load correctly. And flip this down for now. Backspace on the top left of the keyboard. That works good. Shift on each side and a shift lock on the left. Clear that, just hit the shift button again. Tab on the top right. This has a manual tab. So when you flip that panel back, you can access the tabs, and there's one. You gotta make sure that they pop up after you move them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them. And so you hit the tab, it stops at each one of those tabs. And you can just move those anywhere, and there's a scale up there to tell you exactly what space you're on. Margin release below that, so you get to the end of the margin. There's a mechanism that blocks the keys from printing, so you hit that margin release and it will allow you to go all the way to the end. This button right here on the left side here will open the hood. So if you have one of these and you're trying to open the hood, sometimes it'll open, but sometimes it'll just lock there. So unless you want to break that, you hit that button. All the brand new ribbon is loaded on the left side, so it's pulling to the right. And if you want to switch that direction, there's a switch right here, right by the left. You just flip that to one side or the other and it'll start pulling. So now we have it pulling to the left, push it to the right, and it pulls to the right, and that's the direction we want it to go. Touch control in front of that from 0 to 9, and the further right you go, the more tension there is when you hit the keys. You do have to hit them harder for them to print, but they do type faster, they do respond faster. So I like to keep that on 0. I'm used to typing on a computer. Carriage release on each side, very smooth. Behind the knobs here, and on this knob here, there's a button. If you push it in, it'll disable the spacing so you can get to an exact spot on the page. You let it go, you get those clicks. Each one of those clicks is a space, and same concept with this lever here. If you move it forward, it'll disable the spacing. You push it back, and you get those clicks. And this is a unique function on this. This is to tighten and loosen the carriage spring that pulls the carriage, so you can move, increase or decrease the tension by moving it from high to low. And that's it. Now available on eBay or Etsy. Search Brooksaw Antiques.